For 20 years, you've trusted us to reinvent the standard in sports nutrition products. We don't plan on stopping, just like you.
So working with Dr. Cohen, I've understood and I've learned that when you have a pain or an injury in a certain area, that's not necessarily the cause. And that's a great point with this bicep. So my bicep hurts down here, and it's been bothering me for over a year now. But we worked on the forearm here, and it relieved the pain. So we worked on this, applied pressure, worked on it, applied pressure, and the pain was alleviated from here. So that tells you that the cause, a major cause of it could be the forearm. So when something hurts or when something's off, your body doesn't just collapse. Other muscles will pick up the slack, and then 6 months later you can have an issue.
That's a great point, because I don't think you ever find it's just a fascial issue, it's just a muscle issue, it's just a joint issue. Your body works together with everything. So I mean, to separate anything out like that and say it's just this problem, it's just that problem, I think is a little naive and it's a little short-sighted. But people do that all the time, you know, I mean, but you know, what Arash said was actually right on point.
Blood and Guts, I think I was in my late teens, early 20s the first time I saw it. At that point, I was already a huge fan of bodybuilding. I'd been following the sport, dieting and training. I knew about Dorian Yates, and I loved his hardcore approach, so I bought the VHS, Blood and Guts, and I studied it like it was my Bible. At the time when I saw Blood and Guts, I'd already been training for close to 10 years, but this was a different level of intensity. That's what I really took away from it. You know, it wasn't any groundbreaking training techniques. He was just training in a basement, bare bones, simplicity, and just really, really hardcore. That was a turning point to some degree for me. I put on a lot more mature, dense muscle training the way that Dorian was in Blood and Guts. It was just hardcore intensity, you know, and that's how I built my frame, my foundation. I didn't know anything else. It was just, this is the way you got bigger and gain muscle. Eat big, train big, hard, intense, and heavy. And I didn't know that I was gonna compete. I figured one day I would, but I just knew the way I wanted to look. I just knew that I couldn't be without it. And I was training 6 days a week. I was eating 6-7 meals a day. And I was living that lifestyle. And I was just trying to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and put on as much muscle and strength in my frame as possible. Dorian was setting the benchmark for that at that time.
What's up, guys? IFBB Pro Arash Rahbar here at Beth Francis Powerhouse Gym. Gonna train some shoulders for you guys today. Do my best, a little bit drained, getting close, feeling good. I think I'm on track to be my best yet, so I'm really looking forward to it. Hope to see you guys all there.
You know, I always pride myself in being nice and not being in a bad mood, but this prep's been rough. Just sometimes you're so drained, just talking is exhausting, you know, you just want to be left alone. I become a little bit of a hermit in my preps. I keep to myself. My family and friends totally understand that. And sometimes it's better to just keep space than to be around people and not be in the best mood. People know it's tough. You know, you're really borderline starving yourself for 4 months.
So I'm here at Beth Francis Powerhouse Gym, and who do I run into? Top 212 competitor, Max Storino. My friend, always a pleasure to see this guy. He comes and visits us when he can. He's a beast.
So, as I get closer to the show, my training, I try not to change it much. I'm an advocate of high intensity, always pushing yourself to train as heavy as you can while getting the rep range that you're shooting for and being safe. That being said, as you get leaner and calories drop, you get a little bit weaker. You have some drain days, some tough days. So it'll train based on what I'm capable of doing, not so much. I won't really change too much purposely. One thing I do not do is lower weight and increase volume, because I'm a firm believer in what you did to gain the muscle that you have, you gotta keep doing to keep that look and that muscle. I'm just very focused, tunnel vision. It's very easy to lose your frame of mind and overthink in bodybuilding every little aspect, from your eating, your training, everything you're doing. It's very easy to overthink it and second guess. So I'm very focused. I know what I'm doing is working. I'm on track to be my best yet in 2018, I believe. So I'm not overthinking anything. I'm just sticking to the plan. When I do cardio, I listen to a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger's motivational speeches, hearing his voice, and I imagine being on stage speaking with him, getting interviewed with him. So it's all mental from here on in. Physically, it's autopilot. I've been here before. I've done this before. I know what you go through physically. Sometimes if you listen too much to your body, as far as not aches and pains, it's good to listen to that, but as far as being drained and tired, it'll mess with you mentally. You just gotta keep going through the motions. Training will always change if you're injured, you know? I don't have any injuries. I have tweaks, you know, I've been bodybuilding for 23 years now, so I got little aches and pains, and you work around them.
This machine is a percussive instrument. Basically, this means it taps. And what the machine does is it actually reads the compliance of the spine, meaning that how well is the spine moving. The longer the machine takes, the more stuck the spine is, you could say. And the shorter it takes, the more in compliance it is. So we're looking for everything to be short and quick, and it wasn't too bad today.
Therapy is a big part of any athlete's regimen. So by therapy, I mean deep tissue massage, chiropractor, Graston, stretching on your own a lot, and doing a lot of mobility and really warming up adequately. The first 2, 3, sometimes 4 sets will be just getting the blood flow and warming the area up. If you do have an injury or a big tweak, it's very difficult to cure the injury, fix the injury when you're training 6 days a week. Any good therapist or doctor will tell you it's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on it. So unless you really just do rehab every day and take off from training, you're probably not going to be at 100%.
Graston is it's becoming more and more popular. Graston is just a type of instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilization or manipulation. There are different tools that have been popping up in the last year or two that, quite frankly, are not quite as good, but you know, that's kind of the instrument is just the ISTM is the umbrella term for it. Graston is just the guy's name that invented it. But what the tool does, the tool actually detects adhesions or scarring in the fascia itself.
So there's been, you know, in 2016, 17, I had some shoulder issues, and it was rough going into the prep with it, and I worked around it. There's a lot of things I didn't do. I did a lot of therapy, and instead of healing it in 2-3 months, it took me about 9 or 10 months because I was constantly training. So, you know, it's all relative to how much you rest, how much therapy you do, and if you ignore it or not. If you just ignore it and just push through, it'll sneak up on you, and it'll be a lot worse than it could be if you catch it sooner.
So this is probably one of the most painful things I've ever done in therapy, working on the SCM, but the most helpful. This, working on my neck on the SCM here, takes pain away and pressure away from my shoulder. The last time I was here with Ehsan from Generation Iron Persian, and he watched me do it, and you know, it looks like I'm in pain, but not that bad. I'm kind of used to it, I guess. And then he did it. Doc did it on Ehsan, and he almost had a heart attack. He almost fell off the chair.
Most people nowadays you see on stage, they're bodybuilding for a couple months, a year, 2 years, and they're on stage. So yes, those people, I see them pushing the envelope. I see them pushing themselves to acquire their gains faster, you know, and when you do that, that's when you run into problems. Everyone's pushing themselves to be their best. Some people are willing to take more risks. Some people are willing to push harder. And there's a lot of athletes, not bodybuilders, athletes in general that have been quoted saying, I would cut 20, 30 years off my life to be the best, you know, to be a gold medalist, to be #1 in the world. So that's the mentality of a lot of athletes and a lot of champions. Some bodybuilders are like that, some aren't. From all the fans around the world, from America to Brazil to London to Iran, my homeland, and they're behind me, you know, and it's a really, really good feeling. I get goosebumps just talking about it. And that's a big factor personally for me. One thing I enjoy more than being on stage and getting compliments of you have a nice six-pack or a nice physique is being able to speak and having my words affect the people that are listening. And when I get a message or someone tells me, I heard you speak at, you know, so-and-so venue, and what you said, this and that, it really hit home with me and it made me think, and I made a change in my life or a decision, that means the world to me.